This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you love them. Because love lives here.
Ah, motherhood. 1 minute, you're mom of the year.
I love you, Mommy.
Then the next, not so much. From bath time to bullying, from potty training to puberty, parenting is full of challenges. But one thing is for certain, you are not alone. Welcome to Modern Mom Probs. I'm your host, author, mother, parenting expert, Tara Clark. Join me while we tackle today's modern mom problems. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Modern Mom Probs. I am your host, Tara, and today's Modern Mom Problem is navigating step-family dynamics. This is going to be a good one. I am joined by Cameron Normand. She is the CEO of Stepfamily Solutions. She's also the host of the Stepmom Diaries podcast. We did a pod swap, so listen up for my being on her show, because we're going to be talking about the good mom myth, which is a really good one. So she's also the founder of the Stepfamily Coach Academy and the Stepmom Summit. Before she got involved in becoming the stepfamily expert that she is, she previously worked in politics for 23 years on Capitol Hill. She was leading policy strategies in roles at two of the world's top movie studios. How cool is that? She is so bright. She is a lawyer by trade, so she has her JD, and now Cameron is pursuing a master's in clinical mental health counseling. We are going to jump in and unpack all of the different dynamics surrounding step families. So without further ado, Cameron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started doing the work that you do.
Yeah. So I run a business called Stepfamily Solutions, and it kind of runs the gamut. But my general kind of mission and reason for being is to help step families navigate all of the complicated things that come with being in a blended family. So I've got a podcast. I train step family coaches and certify them to help other step families, paying it forward a little bit. And I've got a Step Family magazine. I do coaching. I've got a membership. I mean, just kind of all the things that
I was going to say you do all the But how did you, which is so awesome, because I feel like there's not as much talk about that as there probably needs to be. But like, how did you start doing this work? Like, how did you get into it in the first place?
And you're right. It's crazy. There should be a lot more out there, considering that 40% of American families are in step families. There are
40%. That's even higher than I would have imagined.
It's crazy. There are 1,300 that form every day. And I always tell people this because they're always amazed at that statistic. And I'm like, guess what? That statistic is like 20 years old. Like, that's not even new. They don't have a new one because the census isn't measuring it anymore. But it's actually a lot higher than that.
That's wild.
So yeah. So I got into it. I kind of stumbled into it. I am a lawyer by training. I worked for years in politics in DC, first on Capitol Hill, then representing two different movie studios. Really fun, great career. And then I met my Prince Charming at 40, and he came with 4 kids, one of whom had special needs. And I had been a stepchild growing up, with a complicated relationship with my stepmom, meaning like not great, complicated, still not great after 40 years. But I figured with that background that like I could handle stepfamily life. I'm like, I know what the kids are thinking. Like, I know what high conflict is. Like this, I'm a lawyer. I'm smart. Like, how hard can this be? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out pretty hard. And so I started looking because, again, like type A, I'm like, all right, well, where's the handbook? Like, tell me what to do, So I started looking, and there was like nothing out there. And the few things that I could find online out there just didn't feel like they really spoke to me. I mean, I did, I had my husband and his ex have a high conflict relationship with 4 kids. everybody's it ran the gamut of emotions and complications and all those things. And so I kind of started to create it myself. I got certified to coach, and I always tell this story because people don't believe me, that I got certified with zero intention of coaching. I mean, I had a great job. I was not interested in like building some side business or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to understand like what the heck was going wrong in my family and like why I couldn't seem to crack this. And once I got into it and understood how different the dynamics are between step families and first families, I'm like, if I am having a hard time with this and I'm like a reasonably intelligent human being, then like how many other women out there are struggling and have no idea where to turn? And so I kind of stumbled into it and started building this thing to help step families. And here we are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. There's so much to unpack with this conversation. I myself was a stepchild. I feel like that's a weird thing. I've never like described myself as that before.
I know,
right? So just for your context for you, it's like my parents were divorced when I was 2 years old. My mother never remarried. My dad remarried when I was 10. So I had a stepmom. Same thing, very complicated relationship, not good at all by any stretch of the imagination. Probably maybe like 2 years into my dad's marriage, I stopped going there on the weekends and then went no contact with them for the next 10 years. Only when my dad divorced her did he then come back into my life. And at that point, I was 25 years old. Just that's the context there.
Yeah.
So I do have some experience in what you're saying there, but there's so many questions that I want to ask you. And there's there's like a lot of things that I want to talk about. And it's like, so it's almost like, where do we even begin
I know,
in this
so
conversation?
Really
Like I said, there's like so much to unpack, but because the thing for stepmoms, and I'm going to sort of focus this conversation on stepmoms more than stepdads, because this tends to be a show for mothers and stepmothers. The thing for stepmothers is that they have to be concerned with the relationship with their new partner, the relationship with their new stepchildren, and possibly the relationship with an ex-partner, right?
Absolutely.
Like their new husband's ex, right? Or their new partner's ex. And that is a lot to put on someone's plate to sort of go from 0 to 60 almost overnight.
Yes. And it's interesting. I mean, research shows that stepmoms actually have a higher incidence of depression than biological moms and than stepdads.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, and there's a little bit of a societal thing there, right? Like stepdads are viewed as like, look at this guy. He is so amazing. He came in and he took on these kids and what a hero, And stepmoms are like, oh, who does she think she is? She's trying to replace mom. I mean, there is the whole evil stepmother trope is alive and well. I mean, thank you, Disney, but like also just society, right?
Yeah, no, very, very much so. So how can a stepmom start to, and I hate to use the word unpack again, but like start to really work through this to change that messaging in her whole life? Forget about, the global thing at large, which is hard enough, right? But like for her day to day, right? So she's faced with this now. Like, what are some of the things that you suggest to your clients and coaching folks?
Yeah. So there are a few. I think number one, it's really important to understand that the fundamental fact that step families are different than first families, which sounds really obvious, but I see so many people who come to me because they have been to a therapist who didn't understand that the strategies that you use with step families are so different. They have to be so different than the strategies that you use with first families. And very well-meaning, good therapists that don't have that understanding and haven't sought the continuing education or any of that stuff. And it really messes up the family. So I think, number one is really just understanding that like you stepmom are not crazy. It is a function of the fact that you're in a dynamic that is not the very big air quotes, normal family dynamic. And the things that you're experiencing as a stepmom are a result of that dynamic, not a result of the personalities involved necessarily.
Right. It's like nothing that you did personally. It's
Right.
just a result of the dynamic that we're sort of stuck in this situation.
And even, I mean, I think a lot of couples, the failure rate for second marriages is really high, right?
Is it what is it? Explain that.
I want to say it's like 60 or 70% of second marriages fail. Now,
Wow.
I don't know that all of those marriages have kids, right? There are other dynamics at play, but for the ones that do, there's a lot of conflict, and it's not conflict because, the stepmom's doing a bad job and can't bond with the kids, or the spouse isn't, integrating them appropriately. Like it's not a fault thing. It is a dynamic thing. And understanding the different structure is really important. And having conversations that like nobody thinks about having when you get married or when you partner up, like it's more than just which side of the sink am I going to put my toothbrush on? It's like all of a sudden you get married and you're dealing with custody schedules and, showing up at school events where maybe if it's a high conflict situation, you don't know what the other parents know about you or have heard about you that may or may not be true. And do the kids want you there? Well, how's the ex going to treat you? What if they're saying bad things? The ex is talking about you to the kids. I mean, there's all this stuff that in a first family, you just don't have to worry about.
Yeah. How do you even start to navigate that? Like as you're describing that, and obviously I'm thinking about my own experience as a child and then also thinking about that now as what that would be like as a 45-year-old woman, like how do you even start? What's like step one to navigate this?
It's really, in an ideal world, there are a lot of conversations you would have before you get married about expectations and what your role is going to look like, what the dynamic's going to, look like. You can't predict everything, right? But nobody has those conversations because you don't think about it, right? So you get into it. And I think the first step is really getting on the same page with your partner about your values and sort of the expectations that you each have around what your role is going to be. And a lot of that is getting educated on the dynamic and what your role should be. So as a step parent, you come into this pre-existing family unit, there is this dynamic called insider-outsider syndrome, right? So step parents are stuck outsiders, right? Like they weren't a member of the original family unit. The primary parent or biological parent, whatever that looks like, is a stuck insider. And at various points in this new relationship, they're getting pulled towards their kids and away from their partner, or they're getting pulled towards their partner and away from their kids, and they're in kind of a no-win situation. The step parent is kind of out there perpetually stuck, feeling left out. They haven't been a part of these family traditions or inside jokes or any of that stuff. So you're starting out with that dynamic. So I think the first step is really sort of understanding that and how you're never going to move from the outside to the inside, right? But you can kind of meet in the middle a little bit if you understand that dynamic.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And then, it's also interesting too. It's like, let's say the stepmom and her husband now have their own biological children. And then that's another new dynamic because now she goes from outsider to insider in her new family.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a next level, maybe.
No, absolutely.
Like level 2.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. It's an interesting dynamic, right? Because you do have sort of the two units that are one, and a lot of it does depend on kind of how the relationship is with your stepkid. If you have your own child, what that's going to look like. And yeah, I mean, you're an insider for purposes of that child, but you're still balancing the dynamic. But there are lots of ways that you can communicate with your stepchild and sort of ease that, path a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of really complicating factors in a step family.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What would you say is a good sort of introductory way for a stepmom to try to connect with her new stepchildren?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And it can be so hard. And I know I went into it thinking like, okay, well, I babysat, like kids like me. Cool.
Yeah.
Not so easy. The biggest thing is really let them dictate the time frame. Like stepmoms, you want to come into this thing, you're excited, you've met this person that you love, and you want to like go all in and have this instant family that everybody tells you you're going to have, and kids, you have to understand, and you have to kind of empathize where they're coming from, right? They're probably not excited about you. Like they could still be grieving the fact that their parents split up or that a parent died, like whatever that situation is. There's grief there. They are not thinking about the fact that their mom or dad is now happy. Kids are very self-centric. They don't care. They're thinking about the impact on them, not because they're bad kids, because that's just the developmental stage they're in, right?
Yep.
And kind of really cutting them some slack. But really, it's important to let that relationship develop on their timeline and not yours. And the other thing that's important is to get some one-on-one time with them, but not in a way that's forced. And if they are at all reluctant, you have to, again, like let them set that timeline. And the one-on-one time doesn't have to be like some big production, like, oh, we're going to have a stepmom, stepdaughter day. Let's go and, forced family fun, It can be as simple as like, oh, Cameron's going to pick you up from school. You have 10 minutes in the car. There's some good time that you can, hey, how was your day? Just sort of get to know each other. And I mean, it takes time. The average step family takes 5 to 7 years to kind of blend.
5 to 7 years, Cameron?
Yep. And if you think about it, like if you meet the kids when they're like 10 or 11, that's almost college, right? Like that's a long time.
That's a super long time. Holy cow. Yeah. I don't even think that I knew my stepmother for that long by the time that I stopped going there on the weekends. Yeah. So that's a super long time.
It's awesome. You're going to love it.
I am
I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of the hunt. But are you getting the thrill of the best deals? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores and even stack sales on top of cash back. It's easy to use and you get your cash back through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten.
Thanks, Ashley, for being here. You are.
And also, from a lifestyle standpoint, I mean, there's so many, each family is different and everyone's sort of lifestyle looks different, but many times there might be split custody, right? Mm-hmm. Where you have the kids on weekends or maybe every other weekend and different things like that. And so it's hard to get into a routine. Whereas if you have the kids every day, 7 days a week, then you're starting your new sort of family routine. But there's a definite shift when you're trying to start this new life with your partner, right? And now every other weekend you have his kids and you're just trying to get into that routine. So like, how does that all work out? What do you recommend there?
Yeah, I mean, that's super hard. And if you think about it, it's even harder for the kids, right? Like I talk to my clients a lot about having a good like transition day ritual because transition days are hard for everybody. And especially like, I know we did 50-50, but it was like week on, week off. And so like you'd have the transition day, but it's a little easier when I know a lot of 50-50s are like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then switch and then switch again on like it's every few days. And, it can be really hard. And kids, I mean, their little brains aren't developed, right? Like they have all kinds of emotions about going back and forth between houses, but they either don't know how to articulate them or may not even know that they're having them. And so it comes out in like, anger, tantrums, like whatever, age they're at. So I love the idea of on transition days, like have a ritual or a tradition that like, okay, we transition on Fridays. We're going to pick you up from school. We're going to go have pizza. That's our, we're going to pizza. It's a transition day, and it helps like kids can look forward to it. They have something that's consistent, and, it kind of helps ease them in. Cause we always noticed that like transition day, it didn't happen with all the kids, but we would, one or two of them would get testy, or, you know what I mean? And it's so normal. It's so normal. And
yeah,
step parents need that too, right? Like it's, you can get to a place where if your family is going through a lot of chaos and challenge, you could just dread the kids coming over, and you wake up that morning, you're like,
too,
oh.
right? Like, let's just say Monday through Friday afternoon, like you're just doing your own thing, like with your partner. And then Friday hits and now you're like, oh, now I'm on mom duty or stepmom duty, right? And so again, every family situation is different, but I'm sure that must be a challenging transition for you also as a stepmom, because
Totally.
you probably need your own ritual and routine to be like, okay, now I'm putting on my stepmom hat this weekend.
Yes, 100%. And I always say like, it is so helpful to have something that you're doing for yourself. And like, your life doesn't have to stop because the kids are there, right? Like I talk to a lot of women who are like, well, I can't do this because we have the kids, and, but then we can't do it when we don't have the kids. And like, this thing has come up and I really want to do it, but the kids are here. And I'm like, kids expect their parents to go and do stuff. Like if you had the kids all the time, would you go and do this thing? Probably. So it's probably okay for you to go and do it when you have them. And again, I think it's talking to your partner. Like if you know that you're having a hard time thinking about the kids coming over and you're going to need some time, have a conversation about that and say, you know what, I'm going to go get a pedicure. I'll see you when I get home. The kids will be there. Like that'll be fine. Yeah. Like do something for you.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think that is so important. Many times on this show, we speak about the invisible labor and mental load of motherhood, right? And I wonder how that dynamic differs amongst step families.
I love that question because it's so real. The mental load thing is real, and it's real with stepmoms, right? Like you come into this situation and you're maybe not only jumping into where you've got the mental load of, meals and house and all this other stuff, but you're also dealing with like maybe kids that don't like you, or, an ex that has been trash talking you to the kids, or whatever that looks like. And that makes that mental load so much harder to manage. And that's why, I mentioned that statistic about depression in stepmoms. It's a real thing. And it's because that mental load is so challenging. And stepmoms put a huge amount of pressure on themselves to be perfect and to be like super stepmom and show up at everything. And when I was a new stepmom, that was one of the biggest challenges I had, because I was an overachiever, type A, like, all right, we're going to throw a birthday party. It's going to be the best, like Pinterest board, all the things. And I remember the first one I threw for one of the kids, my husband was like, that all they care about is like the ice cream and cake. Like they don't care that you have this like elaborate theme. And, my stepdaughter wanted like an under the sea theme. And so I was like cutting up cheddar cheese into little like shark's teeth and, doing all the gift bags and like all the things. And my husband was like, you are insane. It does not have to be like that.
You could plan my birthday party anytime, Cameron.
I love a good party. But, I felt like all this pressure to like really do all the things. And, ultimately I realized that like, they don't care about all that stuff. It's, who is it that talks, has got the quote about, it's not what you do for people, it's how you make them feel.
Yes. I think that's Maya Angelou.
Is that Maya Angelou? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how kids feel, right? Like they don't remember in fact, I was talking to my stepdaughter about that party, a few months ago. And I was like, do you remember all that? And she was like, oh yeah, we had a lot of fun. And I was like, you have no idea the amount of time I spent cutting out all these little things. And, but it really kind of hit home again that like, she remembered hanging out with her friends, running around the house and being crazy 12-year-olds, and that they had a lot of fun.
Yep.
That's it. You know?
That was her takeaway. She didn't remember the goodie bags. No. She didn't remember the backdrops or anything like that. She just remembers being loved and being appreciated and being celebrated.
Exactly. So I think we do really put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I think we feel oftentimes like we have to prove that we deserve our spot in the family, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's not a great place to be. That's not a nice way to feel about yourself.
No, that's not a great way across the board. Families, non-families, first families, step families, any of those, like nobody wants to be like that, period. No, I completely understand. How can stepmoms, like, what's a good way to really connect one-on-one? Like, you have 4 stepchildren, right? And how do you carve out time to get to know each one individually without being sort of overwhelmed of like, I have to be best friends with all of these kids?
It's hard. And I think understanding that you're going to have a different relationship with each kid, right? Like, you may end up being closer to one than one of the others, and that's okay. You know, it's totally okay. You may have 2 of them may despise you. You know, you can't, it goes back to that, like the things you can control and the things you can't control, you know? Yeah. But I think, carving out some time, even when it is just things like, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Do you want to go with me? Just things like that. And I also love looking for times when you can set up sort of annual traditions with your stepkids. Like, my stepdaughter and I go see the Nutcracker every year around the holidays, and that's like our thing.
Nutcracker. I love the Nutcracker.
It's something that my mom did with me when I was little, and it's like my favorite part of the holidays. And now it's her favorite part of the holidays, and we love going together every year. And so that's been like a really neat thing that we started doing together. So like figuring out what it is that they like to do, and not making it about things that you like to do. And
that you're just dragging them along to your interests and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love the idea of like, let them teach you how to do something. Like, if they love making Legos, like, hey, what are you making? Show me how to do all this. I don't know much about Legos. Tell me how to do this, or if they really love video games and you really don't, like, hey, show me how to, my video gaming stopped with like Mario Brothers. So,
same.
Like,
yeah.
Like, hey, show me how to, I don't know how to work this controller. Show me how to do this, and kids really enjoy showing you. They get excited about the things that they're excited about,
Yeah, absolutely. As the mom to a 13-year-old son, I could absolutely agree.
You get it.
I totally get it. Like, he and I sit together and play Legos, and it's one of my favorite things to do. Actually, we sort of have a routine where I build the Legos, and then he'll do imaginative play with the Legos once they're built. So it sort of like works out together. But he loves to explain video games to me, because he's like, you don't know video games, Mom, because you only played Mario Brothers. I'm like, all right, so explain to me how, Minecraft works. And any chance he gets to tell you about Minecraft, he will. So they love it. Yeah. And so that's a great way to connect with children, period. Yeah. Follow their lead, ask questions, be curious about what interests them. Curiosity. And you can't go wrong with that. Do you find that it's easier to connect, for a stepmom, to connect with younger children, and then you have sort of the life to grow with them, or with older children? Like, in your experience, not just for you personally, but in your practice?
Yeah, I think it really varies. I think that generally, and I think research shows that younger kids are slightly more accepting of stepfamilies, of stepmoms. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that that's necessarily an across the board thing. And I think it really depends on the kid. I think for younger kids, it is a little bit easier, just because then, you're in their life for so much longer, Mm-hmm. Older kids, it is nice. And as I've seen my stepkids get older, like, you can have kind of more open conversations with them.
Yeah. And
you never want to have inappropriately open conversations with them. Like, you never want to talk about their mom or any of that stuff. But like, I don't know. I think there are ways to sort of handle it, whatever the age of the child is. It's funny. I just did my most recent podcast episode about like talking to kids at different ages. And I think there are ways, I think it's really important to sort of underscore for each kid, regardless of the age. And again, there are ways to talk about it, that like, you're not trying to replace anybody, and that you understand that they might have feelings about you being there, and that that's okay, and that your feelings aren't going to be hurt if they don't want you there, if they're not excited about you being there. And only say that if your feelings actually aren't going to be hurt, but you know what I mean?
Don't lie to them.
But I think it can't. So that's like a long-winded way of saying it really depends. Like, I think that there are pros and cons for all ages. I think in theory, and I think probably some research backs up that, when you become a stepmom to younger kids, it is easier because you're in their life for so much longer. But I think that there are ways to establish that bonding, whatever the age is.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense. Do you have any advice for stepmoms in dealing with the dynamics of the ex? That might be a whole other conversation. That's like a second podcast.
That could be a whole other conversation. But that is the most common thing that women find me about is when they're having challenges with the ex that's high conflict. And it's really hard. And I can't underscore enough that stepmoms really have to focus on the things they can control. And if the ex is truly a high conflict personality, which, I have a lot of women who come and they're like, oh, the ex is a narcissist and she's borderline personality and she's this. And I'm like, has she been diagnosed? Do you know she's been diagnosed? Like, let's not throw those terms around, right? Like, I get that she's a pain in your behind, but like,
yeah.
So I think, but it is setting the boundaries that you need and, sticking with them, and then letting go of the stuff you can't control, which all sounds a lot easier than it actually is. But it can be challenging. And I have a lot of women that I work with who it is so high conflict that they feel afraid to like show up at the school events and stuff like that. And they're like, well, how do I handle it? She's going to make a scene. And I'm like, you have to evaluate how important it is for you to be there.
Yeah.
And for your sanity, if you need to say to your stepkid, like, hey, I'm not going to come, things are complicated right now. I would love to be there. I'm going to see you afterwards and we're going to go out and celebrate,
Yeah.
You have to do what is going to be best for you and kind of keeping your sanity.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's really hard.
That's super challenging. Do you have any like tools, apps, or different like communication? I don't know if the right word is like a communication app between, exes and spouses to be able to like communicate properly without it exploding. Does that make sense?
So there's some apps out there that, there's some apps out there that you can use for like communicating and preserving stuff for court or having kind of a neutral medium. But I think more important, and they're all great. I mean, I think it's great to use those. And I think sometimes it can keep the temperature down because, I think in the back of your head, you're like, well, somebody else could be reading these at some point.
Oh, I hadn't considered that, but you're right. Yes.
But I think, the method that I really love actually is Bill Eddy has what he calls the BIF method. And it is when you're communicating, over text or whatever with someone that's high conflict, keeping it brief, informational, friendly, and firm. So when they text you and say, or your partner and say, oh, I knew you weren't going to let me have Johnny for this time because you're such a jerk and you've always been a jerk and you'll never change. And, then your partner's response is, thanks for your quick reply. I understand that, this isn't going to happen because whatever. And I will pick Johnny up at our normal time. And it's brief. It's giving you the information. It's friendly-ish. You don't have to be best friends.
Yeah.
And firm. And
I love that.
That kind of, when someone's throwing a lot of stuff your way, that can kind of neutralize it a little bit. And it doesn't always mean that they'll stop throwing it right away. But over time, more often than not, if they're not getting it returned, they tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, because then they sort of meet you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it makes a big difference.
Yeah,
It makes a big
absolutely.
difference.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to ask you a question, Cameron, that I ask all of my guests.
Yeah.
And my question is, what do you think is the biggest modern mom problem right now?
Oh, I think all moms put so much pressure on themselves. And I think that we're really hard on ourselves. Like, I see it everywhere that like there is this standard that we feel like we have to live up to. And I really would love to kind of change the culture around that, like, you know, going back to like the Pinterest boards, like, why do we feel like we need to have, you know, all of that stuff? I mean,
yeah,
like,
I ask myself that often.
Can we go back to like when I grew up, and I'm giving my age here, like the Wonder Woman underoos party? Like,
oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm with you on that one, my friend. I loved Wonder Woman. My mother handmade me a Wonder Woman costume out of felt.
Yes,
and I thought that I was the coolest.
Oh my gosh, that's
out there.
amazing. Yes.
Loved that costume.
I love the
it was
handmade
like
costumes.
felt on a dance skin. I think that's what it was. I loved it.
That's amazing.
I thought that was pretty awesome. So I agree 1,000%. And I think that is really one of the major modern mom problems right now, without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
We're just really tough on ourselves. We expect a lot more than what we would expect from any of our friends.
Yeah, I agree. And we need to show ourselves self-compassion in the way that we would our friends. If our friend came to us and said, oh, I'm beating myself up because of X, Y, and Z. And you say like, no, it's okay. Like,
yeah, you're trying your hardest.
You're trying your best. You're doing your best. And I think we should speak to ourselves the same way that we would speak to our best friends.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. I agree. Cameron, tell everyone, where can we learn more about you? Where can we listen to the podcast? Tell me all the things.
Yes, I am at stepfamilysolutions.com. The podcast is Stepmom Diaries, and it's everywhere you can get a podcast. I have a new YouTube channel, and that is at Stepfamily Solutions is my handle on all social media. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's where I am. Come find me. I DM me. I always respond, and yeah.
I love it. Everybody go listen to the podcast. Go check out her new YouTube. Cameron, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Modern Mom Probs. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive in today's problem with me, your host, Tara Clark. Join me next time when I'll be interviewing another great guest and tackling another modern mom problem. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and a rating. As always, you could head over to Modern Mom Probs on Instagram and give me a follow, or check out my book, Modern Mom Probs, A Survival Guide for 21st Century Mothers, available online wherever books are sold. Well, that's it for today. See you next time, folks.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.